So here's a sentence that sounds made up. I lost 10 pounds in 21 days, and it started with my weight going up. On June 19th, I weighed 187 pounds. Today, July 10th, I weigh 176.3. That's 10.7 pounds in 3 weeks. And normally, this is the part of the video where a coach is going to cut to a before and after, and then a link in the description. But I'm not going to do that because the number isn't actually the interesting part of the story. What almost happened to my head in the middle of it, that's the part worth your 15 minutes. You're listening to the Subpoint Science Podcast, the show where we take midlife weight and appetite apart, the real mechanics, not the Instagram version. I'm your host, Sherry Alberts, and on today's episode, we're talking about why a setback doesn't mean your body's just picked a new number and is sticking with it. Before that 10 pounds came off, it went on. This was my third round of prednisone this year, if you've been following along. And if you've ever been on it, you know what it does. Dun, dun, dun. It holds onto fluid. It turns your appetite and your cravings up to a volume that you did not ask for. So the weight I gained wasn't fat showing up overnight. It was water and it was eating past full. So for sure there was some fat in there because the drug was making full much harder to hear. So when I came off the drug, within about 2 weeks, that weight came right back off. Which raises an honest question. Was it ever really regained the way we usually mean that word? I don't think it's that. I think it's water and appetite chemistry doing exactly what water and appetite chemistry do. But I want to sit in that question for a second because a lot of you have lived some version of this and walked away with the wrong conclusion. And for the records, my weight before this round of prednisone, which happened in June, was 173.6. So I'm not all the way back yet. I've got about 2.7 pounds between where I am now and where I started before the prednisone. And so here's the part of the story that a lot of us just get handed, usually not by our own experience, but from somewhere outside of us. Diet culture, some kind of bad attempts in our 20s, someone else's failure that we absorbed as this like universal law, that once you gain the weight back, when you're older, when your metabolism has slowed, when you're on medications and stuff, your body's not going to release it again. And that belief feels true when you're in the middle of it. It feels like something that you learned, not something that you were told. But those are two different things. Something coming from outside of you and landing hard enough to feel like your own conclusion, it doesn't actually make it a fact about your particular body. It just makes it a strongly held belief. And strongly held beliefs do something specific to your brain that's actually worth naming. So maybe you don't know me, maybe you do. I'm a psychology nerd. That is my favorite thing to talk about. I've always been interested in psychology. My life coaching certification is based on cognitive behavioral therapy, psychology techniques and ideas. What I like about psychology is the fact that it explains human behaviors in a way that we can understand and not feel guilty about because they're natural. So in this particular situation, there's two things going on here. And they're related, but they're not the same. So I'm going to split them apart, okay? The first is what we call, you've probably heard of it before, confirmation bias. It's a well-established idea in psychology that once your brain believes something, it goes looking for evidence that agrees with that belief. And then it also downplays or explains away evidence that doesn't. So if you believe fully and strongly that my body's not going to let this weight go, or if you even are like worried, like, I wonder, maybe my body's not going to let this go now, right? Maybe it's going to hold on to it forever. You're going to then be stressed. You're going to notice every single stall on the scale, all those overeating bites, and you're really going to notice it. Like, you're going to feel it in your chest. And then you're going to wave off every weight loss drop, just some kind of a fluke waterway, or like, oh, it's just going to come back on tomorrow. It's the same data, but you just have two different stories about it. The second idea, I'm sure you've heard of it, is this idea of a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's related, but it's not about how you interpret evidence. It's about how the belief changes what you actually do. If you believe you can't lose the weight again, you just kind of stop trying the first time it gets hard. You skip the workout that you would have done. You stop tracking protein because what's the point? The belief doesn't actually move the scale directly. It moves your behavior. And then your behavior moves the scale. Then you look back and you go, see, I knew I couldn't lose the weight. That's the trap there. It's not that it's your metabolism or the medication or the fact that you're in midlife right now. It's the story and then what the story talks you out of doing. And I'm not saying this just from theory ever. You've seen this in my videos now. So let me give you my actual year. 5 setbacks, a hysterectomy, restarting strength training after that time off, and then 3 separate rounds of prednisone, each one bumping my weight up the same way the last one did. If I had fully believed the you can't lose it again story after any one of those 5, not all 5, but just one, I think I'd honestly be sitting another like 10 or 20 pounds higher right now or more. And then here's the part that matters. I wouldn't be experiencing that as 10 pounds I haven't lost yet. I'd be experiencing that as my new floor. It's just the place my body lives now. Now this is my new set point. And I'd have a story and reasoning and everything to explain it. Instead, every single time I treated the setback as exactly what it was. A setback, not a verdict. I'm not saying that I was perfect at this. So here's the cool part, is that you don't have to be perfect at not seeing things as a verdict, right? You can still be kind of like, I wonder if I'm going to be able to lose this, right? But it's the difference between a strongly held belief of like, oh, this is my new floor, I'll never be able to lose it. And like, I wonder if I can lose it, I'm just going to go back to doing the things that I did before and see what happens. So it's not perfect, it's not instant. It's just, we're gonna do these things consistently enough again. See what happens. More curiosity than certainty. So nothing dramatic. And that's the point. So I'm strength training, right? I recently switched before the prednisone thing from a weekly split, meaning every day I was doing part of my body. And then I switched to doing full body sessions only. So every time I would work out, I would do all my muscles at once. And when I switched to full body, that's because I wanted to pull back a little bit on weight training. And that has just felt better for where my life is right now. I've got the muscle that I want. I'm just working to maintain it at this point. And I'm keeping my protein at the level that feels good for me and actually lowers my cravings. I've gotten my body to a point where the amount of protein I have is satiating and also helps me lower cravings. And now I feel like I have more leeway. And then there's this weird small thing that I'm not going to attach myself to, but I'm going to tell you about anyway. So this thing happened. I don't have any idea what to do with it yet, but I'm just going to tell you about it. So for years, genuinely years, I've wanted something sweet after meals. Chocolate specifically, but in my nutritarian days, it was like banana ice cream or whatever could kind of calm down that craving. And I actually have a drawer. You know the drawer. It's right over there. I'm going to show you a video real quick. So here's my drawer. I have some protein bars in here that I really like. And then I also have the chocolate peppermint creams that I always get from Whole Foods. They're my favorite. And some backup Andes mints, just in case. And this is also where I keep my Twix bars when husband brings them home. But that's been a while because he's starting to get the message. Now, the last 2 days, it was really weird because I walked past that drawer after a meal and I felt something closer to mild disgust than desire. It wasn't willpower. It wasn't that I resisted. It was an actual sort of slight aversion, unprompted. So I don't know if it holds. It's 2 data points in 2 days after years of a rock solid pattern in the other direction. So I'm not like deliberately building some kind of a theory about this, but it is the first time it's ever happened to me. So we'll see where that goes. I don't know what that means, but in my experience, how things have gone over the last several years as I've been doing this work is when I tell myself I can have something, like I specifically always, it's just a standing yes, that I can have some chocolate after the second or third meal of my day. And so I always do because I always want it. And then this is the first time that I actually was the opposite of wanting it. Like I really didn't want it. Was like, ugh, don't want it. It's the first time I've ever felt that. So in my experience, that feels like the extinction of a habit, right? Extinguishing intense desire for chocolate or for sweets after a meal. I don't know if this is what this is, but I can't wait to find out more and to watch this as it goes. If it goes along with the patterns I've had from other things, that's what it means. We'll see. Okay, so if any part of today's episode hit close, connected with you, the cravings, the drawer, why can't I just stop thinking about food, worrying that you're going to be stuck at this new floor, it might be worth finding out how loud your food cravings actually are. And I call that food noise. So I put together a free 60-second food noise quiz. It's at setpointscience.com/food noise. Takes a minute. It gives you an actual score for you. There's no catch too. You don't even have to put in your email to get the result. Again, that's at setpointscience.com/food noise. And you can find out exactly where you are and how to overcome it. So here's what I actually want you to take from this episode. Setbacks are normal. I've had 5 of them in a year for me this year, which is above average, right? That's a lot more than average. So what decides whether a setback becomes your new permanent address? It's not your body. It's whether you believe the story that says it has to be. And food peace, true food peace, my friends, isn't the opposite of losing weight. For a lot of us, it might be the only version of this that actually holds up when life just keeps on lifing and happening anyways. So until next time, remember that a setback is data, not a verdict. So don't let one rough stretch talk you into a story about your body that isn't even true yet. See you in the next episode.